everybody. The original plan for this video was it was going to be a short, but because of the subject matter, I figured it's best to forget about that plan and just do a sort of longer-ish shorts video, but not a short. It's a long-form video. So, yeah. Season 1 of Marvel Rivals is almost here. Less than 2 weeks officially. So, we're getting there. It's almost time for, hopefully, for some reveals and some like actual like confirmed information. So I figured now is a pretty great time to unveil my wish list of characters I'd like to see come to the game eventually. Keyword there. I don't really care if they're in Season 1 or Season 2. Hell, I don't care if they're in Season 5, like the second year of the game. As long as they are in the game eventually, that's really all I care about. I do know a lot of people have done lists like this in the past weeks, but I'm willing to bet there's at least one character here that will throw you all for a loop. You'll either be like, wait, who? I don't know who that is. Who is that? Please explain. Or you'll be like, oh my god, goated pick. It's gonna... It's something. Don't worry about that one. I'm obviously not gonna go into specifics about what their abilities are because I want to keep this video short-ish. And also, I have faith in NetEase because they made Rocket Raccoon a support character that's actually really good at being a support character, so they can pretty much take any character in the Marvel Universe and make them whatever they want, and it'll work. I have confidence in them, so there's that. Let's start with honorable mentions first. These are only honorable because I've seen some leaks saying that they are coming to the game sooner rather than later. I take leaks with a grain of salt, even if I trust the source. It is what it is. First up, I would not be shocked if Deadpool is in Season 1. There's a ton of references and Easter eggs around the maps alone that would be like, oh, no, he's definitely going to be here soon. And then, of course, you take into consideration the Wolverine bundle from the movie, Deadpool and Wolverine, and how crazy popular of a character he is. I won't be shocked if he makes it in Season 1, but he's definitely sooner rather than later. Next up is Emma Frost, the White Queen. She is a crazy strong mutant in the X-Men universe. Can turn her body into diamonds and become unkillable, basically. I would love to see her in the game. Jean Grey, same thing as Emma Frost, a crazy, just insanely strong mutant, a stronger telepath than Charles Xavier himself. She is an Omega level threat when she becomes the Dark Phoenix. I would love to see that incorporated into her base kit and not made a passive where she revives as the Dark Phoenix. I think Adam Warlock is enough when it comes to a self-reviving character. Onto the list proper. These are not in a specific order, so if you're like, oh my god, this character's my favorite, why is he so low on the list? It's all just like what popped in my head. I was like, oh, I want to see them in the game. First one up is just for the gooning, and that is Black Cat. I mean, I don't think I had to say anything more. You kind of already know. You see what NetEase has done with certain characters in this game, and put Black Cat in there, put Felicity in there. Duh, but I think she'd be a cool stealth character, more or less. Next one up is my favorite symbiote, not named Venom. You can already guess it. It's Carnage, a bloodthirsty, sociopathic serial killer. And then you put the Carnage symbiote over Cletus Cassidy, and you have one hell of a threat to Spider-Man. I need him in the game. He is one of the coolest characters that opposes Spider-Man, basically the counter opposite psychologically to Spider-Man. I need him in the game, not just as a throwaway skin on Venom. Next up, Ghost Rider. I don't think I have to say anything more about Ghost Rider. He's a cool character. Spirit of Vengeance himself. I need him grabbing people by the throat and screaming, "Look into my eyes!" I need that. Next up, it is everybody's favorite mutant, Rogue. You thought I was gonna say somebody else? Don't worry, they're probably on the list. But Rogue is a very, very cool character. I think would be bringing a unique sort of character and gimmick to the game where she touches somebody as an ability and they lose the ability to use their abilities. That was sloppily worded, but hey, that's what she does. I think that'd be a very cool gimmick to add. Next up, Kitty Pryde, but specifically from Fall of X. I've only recently gotten back into comics, and I've started with Fall of X because it's the most interesting one. Kitty Pryde in Fall of X, if you do not know, she's an assassin on every... just insane. She's insane. She is one of the strongest characters in the Fall of X. I need that version of Kitty Pryde. I don't know what she does in other iterations, but Fall of X Kitty Pryde is the one I need. Next up, Cable, Deadpool's BFF and buddy, time cop himself, Cable. I think if you were to do something with him, one, he would be a tank, but that's going to be a pull for some people. Paladins has a character called Atlas who is able to rewind time. I think that's what Cable should be in this game. Just, he takes a little damage, is able to rewind the clock a little bit, gain that health back, and stay on the front line longer. That'd be cool. Next up is the first ever mutant, Apocalypse. Fall of X has done a lot with him in terms of defining what he actually can do, and it is basically he can change his body on a molecular level. So there's a lot to do there that NetEase can do. Again, that thing about making Rocket Raccoon a support that actually works. Apocalypse is right there. Make him a frontline, make him a tank. You have everything you could do with Apocalypse, and it would make sense. Next up, Juggernaut. That's it. That's all I have to say. You know who he is. If he's anything other than a tank, we're doing something wrong. Next up, Mephisto, the master of the Faustian bargain. Yes, Mephisto, I would love to see him in the game. You can make him one of two ways. Either be a shapeshifter, where he just kind of takes other people's power, but then you have that being low-key, but probably not that. On the other end, I would prefer him as a pet class. I know that's a little out of the box, but he is a guy who, in comics, especially Fall of X arc with Ghost Rider and Wolverine, that he does just make up a demon just for funsies. But I think it'd be really cool if all his abilities are summoning little minions, and then his ult is summoning a massive minion that can do massive amounts of damage. I think that'd be a cool character for the game to have. Next up, you ready for this one? Nimrod. Yeah, the Sentient Sentinel. The human, quote-unquote, human-sized Sentinel. I say human-sized in air quotes because this dude is the size of Juggernaut. He's not an average huge Sentinel. He's not a kaiju Sentinel, but he is bigger than most humans. But I'm talking about the one from Fall of X. If you haven't read it, he's basically the catalyst that starts the Fall of X by doing some stuff at the Hellfire Gala. I'm not going to get into it because that'd be spoilers, even though it's like issue 1. It is what it is, though. I think he'd be a real big ass pull of a character where most people would be like, huh? Who? He has been in some other games recently, most notably, I believe, Marvel Snap. He's been in that game as a card. But I think it'd be cool just to have him in the game as this super strong, super bulky tank who has a teleportation and the ability to fly. Or something like that. He's got a bunch of different things they could do, but I would love to see just this niche character that really made a big impact in recent memory be put in the game. Next one up, Cyclops. I don't have to give an explanation. You already know who Cyclops is. We already won him in the game since they announced this game, and he wasn't in it. So there you go. Next up, Gambit. Same thing as Cyclops. We want him in the game. We want that MCU skin. We want him to ult and say, ooh, I'm about to make a name of myself here. We want that in the game since the game was announced. It's so freaking obvious. And last, but certainly not least, Mysterio. I would love to see the Master of Illusion Mysterio in the game. I think you could do some wacky things with his ultimate where he activates an ultimate, you get like flashbanged, and then your UI starts to deceive you and change, right? Maybe your health isn't reading the correct number, or maybe your abilities are switched, or maybe your controls, something like that. They could, again, the Rocket Raccoon thing, they can do a lot of crazy stuff with Mysterio's ability. But that is my wish list for characters I want to see in the game. There's a lot of cross-section here with other lists, I'm sure, because, again, Cyclops, Gambit, Juggernaut, Rogue, Ghost Rider, right? Those are characters that everybody wants to see. But I figured Mephisto would be cool. Nimrod is a character that nobody really remembers at most points. Kitty Pryde would be a great character from Fall of X. Cable, Mysterio, Apocalypse, Carnage. But that will do it. Let me know down below if you have any characters that are not on my list that you would like to see, or if you agree with some characters on my list, let me know in the comments below. But until next time, Season 1 is drawing ever closer. Hopefully we get more info soon. The weeks are turning into week, so hopefully we get some news on, one, how many new characters are coming per season, if they're doing it all at one drop at the start of the season, or they're going to sprinkle them out throughout the season, or we don't know any of that yet. Hopefully we get more info on that. But until then, goodbye.